Welcome to the show, folks. If you don't know me, my name is Mike Asherbrenner. I am professionally known as the Redneck Connector and the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And you are tuning in to Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN RVA 106.1 FM. Wow, folks, I got a special treat for you today. And I didn't turn my stuff off. There you go. See, it happens to the best of us. We got a special treat today. I love seeing people on the journey, right? And we're going to sit down here in just a minute with Chris Stefano. All right, he got to correct me. Y'all know I mess up names. But this guy has spent 20 years as an acupuncturist, right? And he's turned into an accelerated healing specialist. All right, so we're going to unpack, why the smartest, most successful people often feel the most stuck. Or they do, all right? And they don't talk about it, but we see it, all right? So here's what I'm really excited about. He's going to expand from his local powerful business and reluctantly so, grudgingly so in this case, is often the case, of, hey, how can I help more people, right, at a global level? So we're going to unpack this. You're seeing this guy work real time. I can't wait for this conversation. And make sure you connect with him on LinkedIn. We'll share all that info on our media pages as you see the evolution of him going from his powerful local business to an international force. All right, let's roll the intro and get started, folks. Super glad you're here with us.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
All right. Well, I believe this guy probably does know about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. So let's bring Dr. Chris to the show on stage. Good afternoon, brother. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, man, you already know how I'm doing. I was backstage just running around rare form like I ate 10 pounds of sugar as usual. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get off with the real stuff, right? So acupuncture. I didn't see that at Career Day, maybe because I was in the South. But I did see it in the library. Before the internet, I had to go to the library, ran out of stuff to read, and I found the Eastern philosophy section, right? Now I remember acupuncture. So if you tell the folks, how did you get into this arena originally?
Back when I was an undergrad, I became really intrigued by Eastern philosophy, particularly Taoism, and I have maintained that resonance. When I graduated, did really well at the LSAT. That's the area of my brain that was the best. Logic, analytic reasoning. It's also why I was really depressed for most of my life. People don't tell you that that's how it works. And so I went to law school and I hated it. And I then went to school to be a teacher. And I loved working with people and teaching. But the first time I went for that, they made me do a rubric. And I was like, this is... And then the next time was lesson plans. I'm like, it's not for me. So I walked. And then I saw an advertisement for acupuncture school in like Tricycle Buddhist magazine. Having never had acupuncture, I'm like, hey, seems like a great idea. So I applied and I went, but then I got married, took 10 years off because I had a couple kids and worked in computers and did third level support. And then through a series of events, because that's how the world works, ended up going to school full-time, working full-time, and started practicing.
Isn't it something? I felt like a weirdo because I tried this, went to school for that, didn't like this, didn't like that. Come to find out, that's the paradox, isn't it? when you're 18, you're supposed to have it figured out, but you don't really figure out what you want to be when you grow up till you're around 30 to 40s for most of us. So that's encouraging right there. Let me ask you this. You spent 20 years working on the body. Is that right?
That's correct.
What made you, because we're talking about your journey. See, this is fun because you're doing fine, right? Scarsdale Health, you got a local facility. People come to you, you're well known. People love what you do. But what made you shift from acupuncture, just acupuncture and things like that, to something much deeper? What was going on there?
My instructor, when I was studying in school, his teacher said, the problem is your head. The problem is your life. That's what he said. And he beat that into us. But, we get out thinking acupuncture fixes everything.
Right.
And I recently, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, really reinvented how I practice. And my practice is now high level intuitive. So it's energy work, everything else, but it's not like typical acupuncture where you're just sort of resting. I'll press on your ribs somewhere. Let's say it's near the liver. You start kicking your legs because it hurts like the dickens. Then I'm told to press on the back of your left shoulder. I press there, and then I just lay into your ribs, nothing, because your body's turning it off. And I'm able to do that because the information is exchanged between both of us. We're working as a team. But what I find is, in order to get it to hold, in order to get it to really stay, if you come in and your back has gone out, I just see this all the time. I'm going to ask you, if you didn't fall down a flight of stairs, I'm going to ask you about what your stress is, because 9 times out of 10, oh, and I'm trying to sell my house, or, oh, this is happening. Okay, how are you handling it? Even worse is the person, and I've been there, that is on the path that is not true to them, the path that they chose out of fear and put their heart completely aside. And now their subconscious, if you want to call it that, their true self, if you want to call it that, is screaming for them to listen.
All right, so Dr. Chris, on that note, what for folks listening who've hit success, right, whatever their definition is, business, life, whatever, but they still feel unsettled, right? That external versus internal. How did you come to realize that high performance doesn't equal peace?
Because I see so many people that are high performance that are not at peace. These are the decisions made of, I'm going to do what's practical, not I'm going to do what my heart says. There's this disconnect.
Well, why so? I mean, because to me, it's like, that sounds nice and great, but I have bills to pay, mortgage, kids, busy, success, all this. How is this even going to factor in? Why should I care about the internal? Why should I care about all this? And sometimes there's resistance, right? Still today, people think it's kind of hooey and all that stuff. So what is the difference? Because you work with a lot of people. Could you have a story where someone came in for acupuncture, but then they got a little more than that, and it just kept happening, maybe, right? And that's what's leading you to bigger chapters. Tell us about that. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off.
So I got a million stories like this. It's every story. I'm going to give a pretty easy one. Guy comes in and he has low back pain. I've seen him before for low back pain. He's late 30s and he's a nurse in a psychiatric ward. So it's a physical type of job. And he comes in and he says, my back is hurting me. I'm like, okay. Hadn't seen him for a couple of years. And I was like, well, held up pretty well, but what's going on? And he's like, well, I'm fat. And I said, because this gets me every time. I'm like, were you fat 2 weeks ago? Yes. Was your back hurting you? No. Well, then don't take these negatives and start putting yourself down. It's not because of your weight. What's going on? Well, I'm trying to help my mother-in-law sell her house. I'm helping her move up here. I'm doing this other stuff. The dude is killed. He's swamped. So that's a simple stress. And we worked on both the musculoskeletal and that stress. But more importantly, I have a woman who's working through trauma as a child, and she has severe low back pain. I saw her a couple of weeks ago, and she's doing EMDR but she still hasn't been able to forgive the child, because we were discussing it during the session, because I do coaching with the acupuncture, and she can, and she'd been through the 12th step, and she knows the value of forgiveness, and she couldn't forgive the child until we discussed at deeper levels, would you have chosen that? You were your body, you were protecting yourself. Can you really hold harm there? And the amount of release that she got in that moment from this tension she'd been holding, because her heart wants her to love herself completely, to be in resonance with her truth, but her mind was pushing her away. And one last thing is, the people who've made all the decisions out of scarcity and fear and did what they were told to do to get by in this world, those people carry it in their bodies. So that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it, but I don't remember if I heard it. So if it's appropriate for the radio, all right, tell us about the man bun story. So it was that moment where your body literally said nope, right? And what did that teach you about this alignment you're talking about? That's very powerful.
So what's interesting is, you have to understand, me going into the coaching is a complete love-hate thing. I love doing it, but I don't like getting it going. The business side is not my favorite thing. I love just the interacting with the people. And every time I'm like, you know what, that's it, I'm just going to stick to the needles. That's when I have a person come in my office and I change their life in 10 minutes. And they walk out like in tears of joy and in their heart. And I'm like, damn it, I have to do this, because I'm being told that this is my path. So I signed on with this group that's supposed to do the marketing, and this guy pretends to be all spiritual and all this other stuff. He doesn't even have a man bun, but he is like the embodiment of a man bun. And I pay way too much of a down payment for a package that's way too much, and I'm working with them, and it's like this hard sales, and it's not touching my ethics at all.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not where I'm comfortable. And I'm in conflict, because this is like right before I met you, I'm in conflict of what path to follow. And I got this tension at the base of my neck lighting me up. And I'm like sticking needles in it. I'm putting CBD cream on. I'm doing meditation. But the whole beauty is, it's all done in life and through life. And I know that, but my resistance was killing me. And finally, I have a call with Man Bun, and I'm like, listen, we were working on this and this and this. We're not communicating. And he starts saying, oh, let's go with a clean slate, maybe. And of course, I back down, because I'm like, okay, we could try a clean slate. And then we're talking through it again, clean slate. He still doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, we're not communicating. So I walked away from the down payment. I got off the hook for the rest of it, because it's called the sunk cost in economics. I'm not
right.
I can either ride a road that's not authentic to me, or I can hang up that phone and walk away. And this guy, all smoke and not ethical. And as soon as I hung up that phone, my neck let go, and it hasn't come back, because that's where my body was putting it. And that happens to everyone.
See, this is why we connected. The no nonsense style. You just wanting people to know. You just tell it like it is, and you really truly help people. You care about people. And that's what we have in common. Like, we're not trying to be noisy, but dadgummit, people lose more than money and their dream. They lose heart. They lose purpose. It's just insane. But before we dive into it, dadgummit, I want to dive into it. And Boz is here with us. We got Boz, Vidya, oh man, all kind of people. We got Homer. Thank you, Pack, friends of the Hounds. Let me give Mike King a shout out, because Mike King, you are the man. All right, they put this guy on the jumbotron when he watches the ball games. All right, it's just, they love him. He pushes up his community, and together, hey, our partnership now can push up international. So Mike King, thank you. ESPN, RVA, Mike King Biz, and folks, listen. If you're on that entrepreneurial journey, you're on any journey. You want to be somebody, do something special, but maybe you don't have the skill. You don't know where to start. Right? Maybe you need support, resources, and guidance. Dadgummit, start here. This may not be for you, but it could very well be. So if you want to learn more, you want to watch this live, you go find us on YouTube. Look for Hounds of Business. LinkedIn, you can find me, Mike Asherbranner, at Redneck One on LinkedIn. Or you can shoot an old school carrier pigeon. I still take those, weather pending. All right. So we are here with Dr. Chris D. Stefano. All right. I know I messed it up.
You're doing great.
Hey, thank you. You're encouraging. And we were talking about the realness, right? Because I used to think this stuff was hokey, but now, oh, I know better, right? So most people, and me included, did not realize our body was screaming at us. And in fact, it's very much more in tuned. And sometimes we can feel it before we can even process it, right? Irrationally in our head. So, how can someone start listening to what's underneath the tension, pain, and burnout? Just like you said, as soon as you found the root cause that this person and this stuff is not for you, it went away. So, how do people out there listening, how do they help and start to identify what's really driving that pain and tension?
So what I like to say is the body doesn't lie, but it could be a real drama queen, and it really will scream. And people with migraines, that's a good, typical case, could have it their entire life, and they're just silencing the alarm. They're not listening to why they're having this pain. So how do you get the pain? You go into yourself. How do you go into yourself? Meditation, um, stillness, even exercise, movement. But most importantly, it's that connection to the heart. And I'm going off script here because I got to. It's about the authenticity, it's about the ethics. There's no other choice. I said this earlier because if anyone wants to have any degree of actual power, the ability to help on a scale, the ethics have to be present to be able to use that tool. And that is the heart. That's coming from the heart. So when we're doing things outside of our authenticity, our body's going to tell us. And how do we listen? We listen, if we have ethics, by saying, hey, what am I doing out of alignment with what's true to me? What am I doing that doesn't feel right? What am I doing that's done from fear, not from my passion, not from my truth, not from my authenticity? And, obviously talk to me. This is what I do for people. I listen to what they're saying. Like, my patients do not wish me well for this. They're like, we don't want to lose you. They wish me like yesterday. A woman's like, nah, you got to stay. We want, you're ours, because I listen to what's in between the words, what's behind the words. And it's not just me. Anyone that's really authentically listening with the heart is going to be able to reflect this in a way that, because it often does take an other to see our reflection clearly.
It sure does. And that was our dynamic, right? Like the way you're so bold, because you care about people. You're not bullying, you're not picking. You're the guy who finally told us what other people were scared to tell us. And that's what I mean. It's like, hey, I got to tell you this. I mean, think about how practical it is. Right? If you have some disease or cancer, your doctor doesn't want to tell you that. He has to. It's his job. And then he's got to put together treatment plans, right? And all these things. That's how we look at our business. That's how we look at how we treat each other. And this is why I find it fascinating, because, and to be able to listen so you can speak to the person, not just bash them into your sales funnel or whatever, right? You come up with custom things to help the person. So before I get into this, because I want to know why coaching doesn't work for so many high performers, because it really, a lot of folks, it doesn't. But correct me if I'm wrong. Why do you think, well, let me just go in and ask that then. Why doesn't coaching work for most high performers? What is it that you've noticed that is a common theme when people try to everything, so to speak, and they're here with you pouring their heart out?
I love what Boz just put there, which is the pain is the message. All the time I say the resistance is the lesson. The resistance is the message. So a lot of coaches are going to be, they'll go through the motions. It's almost the way conventional coaching is done. I don't believe works well on people that are excessively analytical, because the defense mechanisms that come up, like I was speaking with a very experienced coach today, and she had told her patient what they were doing the next time. This woman has high level defense mechanisms. This patient had severe period cramps and canceled the session because the body protected her from having to go to that area. So it's all about this beautiful dance with a person. So a lot of times, in order to coach, we're all taught this, you have to be at or above the level of the person that you're working with in order to guide them, in order to help them, in order to see them. And a lot of coaches haven't done that work on themselves. I was blessed enough to have severe depression for a good part of my life. So I did an exceptional amount of work on myself to get to the point of happiness, which, by the way, a lot of professionals would say is not possible. A lot of professionals believe what they're told by other people, and they put artificial limits on what a person is capable of. I like to play in expanding into what would be thought of as impossible, in expanding beyond our small limits that other people told us we were, into who we truly are.
Oh,
So that's not really answering, but that's my deep truth to it.
well, that's the best you could do until somebody sits down and really gives you. But that's you hit the nail on the head. It, we don't want to listen. I mean, I was 43 years old. I didn't want to go back for 43 years and rehash programming and childhood trauma and all of that. I just wanted to take a pill, get a needle, get out, right, and be okay. Magic bullet. Problem is, there isn't any.
Well,
Um,
that, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Mike,
Go ahead,
but I do have an answer.
please.
And that is the shadow work. Because I went through all the spiritual stuff, everything, and we're chasing the sky. We forget the ground. I am so big on grounding right now. I'm wearing red because supporting that root chakra and connecting is so powerful. And a lot of people don't want to see the shadow. But once we see what we're afraid to look at, what's behind that fear is our truth. It's the parts of us that we pushed away because we believed someone else's story. We thought that part was broken or bad, or we didn't want to be that. We want to be
Same.
accepted by everyone else. And people don't want to go there. And so they put up the resistance. The resistance is the pain. The pain is the teacher. And so I pick up on the subtle. I pick up on the misused words. I pick up on the avoidance. And I help to guide people back into that. And I'll tell someone something. I asked a patient, what do you do for yourself? He's like, well, we'll go to the park and play. It's all stuff he does with his family. I repeated the question 3 or 4 times. He did not answer I, because he's not valuing himself or honoring and treating himself independently. And that's a huge part of what was going on with his physical problem.
You know, I have to be the most cultured redneck out here. I'll be honest, man. Because hanging around at first, I thought, oh, because I'm glad you said that about shadow work and all these other things, because they get a bad rep. But again, do I want to be cool in my own mind, or do I want to advance? Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to be effective? Right? If you're trying to build a legacy and you're not doing the inner work, that's like Usain Bolt trying to win the Olympic race with a boat anchor attached to his waist. Right? Like, good luck. And
Yeah.
that's why I love having you guys here. Baz Porter, he's in the comments, right? He's also helped me through a lot of this, just like April Wyatt, right? Just like you have. And that's, you have to come ready. You got to put the ego in the pocket, right? Before you engage and check things out. So let me ask you this. When folks finally stop hustling, right, and start healing, big difference, right? What's the shift you see in them? Like, how do you see their posture, their energy? Is there like a quick change a lot of times just from little progress?
They stand up straighter. They're not pulling themselves down. They're not making themselves small. They're able to move more freely. And there's something else, and this is actually going back to the shadow work a little bit, because every time we're given something bad, the bad is not bad. The bad is what we don't desire.
Right.
Every time we're given that, that's a test or a challenge. For what? For growth. What's growth? Finding where our faith and trust, where our belief is lacking, and giving us the opportunity, because I could talk all pie in the sky, but the real shadow work is done in real life. The real shadow work is done when you stand up for yourself and establish your boundaries, or help another person, or take that risk. The real shadow work is living your humanity as a divine incarnation in this plane and expressing it. So what happens is that person's inner divinity, you see that spark.
Yeah. Well, when you put a camo hat on and do crazy things, because it's not a costume, it's because
Yeah.
who I want it to be. But we do. Are we able? Are we healthy enough to face the anticipation of shame or judgment or rejection? See, all those things used to kill me. They used to just drain me down. Now, oh man, I'm honey badger resilient, right? Like now, either I learn, I win, or I'll learn and win later. Like I turned dog poo into fertilizer, and it wasn't because I got more skillful in business. It's because I got more healed inside here and here, heart and mind, right? And that's why I love these discussions, because it's not hokey, it's not far removed from business. Folks, you heard me say it before, and I'm proof positive. Me and many hounds and other people. You could have the best sales scripts on earth. You have the best branding, authority, books. But if you don't fully believe it, how can you expect others to? And the only way to fully believe it is to go through the inner work. That's what attracts people. And then I can say, hey, you know what? I've been there. I've done that. And that's why I like you, Chris. That's why I like Boz and all these other folks, because we've been there. We're not just writing books about it at coffee shops. We lived through it. We don't want to see other people go through it, Chris. And that's why I love having you here. So let's get into it. We only got a few minutes. But real quick, what's the one truth you wish every high achiever out there knew about growth, healing, and energy? What's some misnomers, and what do you want them to know the truth is?
The one truth, this is a consciousness model of reality. Trust yourself. Because Henry Ford said it, whether you believe you're going to succeed or fail, you're right. So fix your head, fix your heart.
Well, let me ask you this. Somebody out there, because there's a lot of people. I know there are. And it's okay, because we think we're the only ones. We're the only ones that carry this shame, guilt, lack of skill, whatever. But let me tell you, other people are just better at hiding it than you are, right? I go to social media, and no one else's toilet's clogged but mine, right? Like, come on. And, but we just don't share that. And the hounds, totally different. We talk about it, because that's how we can fix it. That's how we can overcome it. So somebody who's done all the things, right? This coaching, that thing, they read 100 books, blah, 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 and they still feel stuck. What would you tell them to try instead of pushing harder? What should they try right now?
Call me.
There you go.
No, that's my honest answer, because the whole reason I got into law school is my ability to use the analytics. And that's what led to the depression. It's an incredible tool. It's not supposed to run the show. So for people like that, I can match them. That's a rare skill. And with you, this is why we work together, and I'm not with Man Bun. It's that authenticity and that vulnerability, because there's no communication without that. And to help that person to begin to connect to that and understand they are a bigger person through the vulnerability than through being strong. Because real strength is that vulnerability and that courage and that faith.
It really is. And it's not using it as a marketing tool and emotional pill to pity. It's just relating to people. People in my life, Chris, came and said, hey, you're not messed up. I thought I was messed up. And they looked at me and said, oh, that guy's on the same journey. He's just a few steps behind. And it's amazing to see so many folks, not just the hounds, just good people, reach back and pull someone else with them for no other reason, just because they can, Chris. So thank you for being that guy. Folks, where can folks go to find you? What's your website?
Just hop on to scarsdalehealth.com. That's my acupuncture site. The coaching site, I'm revamping it right now. So go to the acupuncture one. My contact info is on there. Yeah. And I can still be contacted that way.
Follow Chris on LinkedIn. Watch his journey unfold. Watch the good, the bad, the highs, the lows, right? We're going to see this in real time. We're going to showcase this over the months as he gets the things in place, because folks out there think, oh, hey, look, there's an overnight success that took 40 years, right? And so your chapter 2 is building. I want people to be encouraged by it. So watch Chris's story unfold. Hounds of Business on YouTube and LinkedIn. Chris, cannot wait for more, brother. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Mike. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. And folks in the comments, folks on the air, love you guys. Seriously. So much around the corner. Plug into the hounds, man. We are doing amazing things. We're past empire building at this point. We're at legacy movements at this point. So, hey, check us out. I got a group call. Shameless plug. Educational as well as entertaining, folks. In fact, it's in 30 minutes. So go hit my profile. Go register. I will see you there. Chris, we will see more of you. And hounds, let's make it happen. All right. You have an impact to make. Let's go make it a reality. All right. Be good, y'all. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.